Hello, family. So we're going to talk about psychological homicide today. It's not just related to estrangement, alienation, ghosting, no contact, depending on when your kid threw you into this thing. Psychological homicide happened to my son when the rug was pulled out from underneath him, literally in every possible way. But in this case, we're talking about psychological homicide as it relates to estrangement, and in particular the mothers whose identity is shattered. Let's first talk about the definition, which is the systematic destruction of a person's psychological existence. It is the termination of the self, the murder of an identity, a history, and a soul, regardless of whether the body remains. Psychological homicide occurs when a person, family, or system methodically dismantles another's inner world through sustained denial, gaslighting, manufactured hope, and the chronic rewriting of their lived truth. It is the process of making a human being disappear while they are still standing in the room. Its weapons include estrangement, parental alienation, coercive control, and systemic erasure. Whether the body survives is incidental. The crime is the intentional liquidation of the personhood. We do not call it choice. We call it what it is: the predictable result of a deliberate dismantling. So now that we've defined psychological homicide, let's talk about this trend. And this is a trend, and let's just get right into the Vulture therapists who have made a boatload of money and continue to do so off of this trend, which they created. Right now, and this is a conservative estimate, it is estimated that there are between 10 and 15 million mothers who are estranged from their children. And worldwide, 200 to 300 million estranged mothers. I like facts, linear thinking when it comes to what the hell happened. In 2020, you'll recall the world shut down. Just shut down. Everything shut down. Schools shut down. Everything shut down. Kids were home all the time. All right, 5 years before that, someone named Lindsay Gibson wrote a book called Emotional Immaturity. Cliff Notes version, it basically says that the boomer generation is a bunch of immature brats who never learned how to live life and who really made their children miserable human beings who cannot exist properly. That's basically what it says. Now, this book sat for 5 years. It sat on the shelves. 2015 to 2020, I think it sold 73,000 copies. Pretty much the only people who were buying it maybe was some therapist who was using it as a reference book, as it should have been. And then 2020 hit. And now I didn't know this, and perhaps you did not as well. You've heard of TikTok. There's a corner of TikTok. Okay, so TikTok is a world. And on the corner of TikTok, there's this little drama central called BookTok. In 2020, when they were all putting these little videos in front of them. Now, by the way, I don't know if you know this or not. So 2013 is the year that selfie was added to the Oxford Dictionary. I believe it was 2013. I'll look it up to make sure. But it was added because the front-facing camera, which had been, I believe it was 2010, started the selfie generation. Self. What more needs to be said about that? So then you've got this Vulture therapist who was, by the way, platformed by Oprah. And Oprah said it right on, I watched the show. Oprah said, I'm not going to take sides. That pissed a lot of us off, didn't it? It did. I mean, first of all, right or wrong, we made Oprah who she is. It was the boomer generation who made her who she is. And we felt betrayed. However, what a lot of us didn't know is Oprah really doesn't have a choice. Oprah isn't Oprah anymore. She is owned, she only owns 5% of her company. Enough of that. In 2020 sometime, on this corner of BookTok, some little girl read this book, got a hold of this book, and all of a sudden she's on TikTok. Oh my God, this is my mother. This is what's wrong with my mother. So now you've got all these kids were home and they're on TikTok, which is Drama Central, and they're on BookTok, and now they're seeing all these kids. And of course, just like any other trend, it just went like wildfire, and all of a sudden everybody and their brother and their sister needs to be estranged because, oh my God, my mother is dysfunctional as hell. So that is where that came from. And I'll tell you that if you watch the Oprah estrangement episode, which was uploaded to YouTube November November of 2025, and almost immediately they disabled comments right before the holidays. They disabled, which means they not only stopped commenting, but they completely disappeared. All of them, thousands of comments. Grandparents were once more silenced. Thank you, Oprah. Oprah's team, but whatever, Oprah. Having said that, Oprah has this episode in November with Lindsay Gibson as part of the expert on the stage. And she says to her right out, she says, you and your book are credited with the acceleration in estrangement the last few years. I mean, she names this woman as the estrangement queen. And this woman, who is very quiet and demure and smiles, is locked up tighter than a drum. You can't find anything out about her, and trust me, I tried. She's got one kid, not much out there except a tiny little acknowledgement, and you don't know anything else about her. There is nothing else available. Boy, she'll tear your family apart in a heartbeat, all in the name of the almighty dollar. She is, I'll say my opinion, you judge for yourself, the Vulture therapist extraordinaire who may not have initially started, but certainly accelerated this trend beyond what anybody could possibly have imagined. We are well over a quarter of the nation right now fractured from families. It's absolutely nuts. So this thing took off on BookTok, right? And it just blew up and exploded. And of course, none of the parents knew. We're the Amish. Are you on TikTok? I wasn't on TikTok. None of us are on TikTok. So we didn't know this was happening out of nowhere. And I hear this over and over and over again. I've been on this journey for so long. And I hear this, oh my God, what happened? I don't understand what happened. And that's why you didn't understand. You were the Amish. We all got to try to catch up to this technology, right? It's a pain in the ass when you're our age, but that's what happened. So Oprah holds up this book and says to her, you're credited with accelerating this estrangement thing. I am very pleased that Oprah called out Gibson. Just ridiculous. You'd have to watch. I was astonished. This woman writes this book on emotional immaturity, and Oprah says something to her about the therapy, and Gibson says, oh, we don't talk about that in our sessions, emotional immaturity. And Oprah goes, she holds up the book and she says, but you wrote the book. And she says, well, that's down the line. You could pick this thing apart very easily. And I intended to initially when I first heard this. You wouldn't believe the copious notes I have. I was just going to tear it to shreds. And then I thought, no, I'm just going to leave it there. It's so obvious. All you got to do is take a look at it and you'll see. This woman has made a ton of money. She was a small town psychologist, just a tiny little practice. She was a nobody. And all of a sudden she's on the New York Times bestseller list because some little girl on BookTok somewhere picked up her book at the right time, right place, wrong time, wrong place for the rest of us, right? The rest of the fractured family who are suffering. It's an ever-growing trend. I'm on a mission, and you need to be as well. I really hope that somebody with money, I don't have money, I'm too old and too tired anyway, but I hope more and more people start suing therapists. I do. And that comes from somebody who has had phenomenal therapy. That is what sends me over the edge with this thing. Therapy is about healing. That is the therapeutic profession, not making a boatload of money off a bullshit philosophy that crucifies an entire generation. She even says dominant mothers are an issue. And I just want to say fuck you to her. I seriously do. I fought for everything. I taught my daughter to be a leader. Yes, I made mistakes, but are you kidding me? In this world where women are second-class citizens, you have the balls to say that? You stepped on your dick, lady. Honest to Pete. I am just, can you tell I'm disgusted? Thoroughly disgusted. She has wrecked more families and continues to do so. I'm just trying to let you know how it happened. So here's what Vulture therapy accomplishes. Family traditions blown to hell. I get to sit here on Mother's Day weekend, not a single family member. Thank you, Lindsay Gibson, and all the folks like you. Is it entirely her fault and their fault? Hell no, but there's a large piece of the pie that gets credited directly to them. It's kind of like somebody looking for an excuse and she provided it to them instead of sitting down. You want to talk about generational judgments. This entire generation that we raised, they have issues with conflict management, and that's been done in studies. That's just not my opinion. They have issues with conflict management. They will run rather than sit down and talk. That's not on us. That is not on us. So family traditions, holidays blown to hell. Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, birthdays, Mother's Day, Thanksgiving, Halloween. I've got countless pictures from all those events from other times in the before time, before Vulture therapists gave my daughter, who was hurting beyond her ability to describe it over the death of her brother, and they gave her permission to blame her mother and stop her own spiritual growth. Future memories out the window. Tons of memories. I've been on this path now off and on for 2 decades since my son died. I have windows of time when I were with the babies. They're grown now, mostly grown. So gone. All those just gone. That entire branch of life that would have come from the relationship, the entire branch of life when my son died, gone. The entire branch of life that would have come from my daughter and the grandchildren, gone. Just gone. So we're talking about family traditions, holidays, future memories, that entire branch of life that would have come from the relationship. So that's what this Vulture therapy accomplishes. And here's what it results in. Broken heart syndrome is real. Many have died by their own hand. Many have died due to broken heart syndrome, and it's certainly attributed to something else. But any woman in particular, it's going to be 99.9% of you here will be women that will absolutely validate that your heart has been deeply affected. And what you may not know is that that's also a physical effect, profound physical effect. We'll do an episode on broken heart syndrome. There's a Japanese name for it. I can't even say it right now, but we'll do an episode on it. It's real. And bereaved mothers added to International Bereaved Mother's Day. International Bereaved Mother's Day is the week before Mother's Day, the Sunday before Mother's Day. And it was created as a way for mothers who had lost children through either stillborn or IVF or accidents or by their own hand. But now you've added millions and millions and millions of mothers worldwide to the International Bereaved Mother's Day because they are experiencing a living death. And sometimes moms want to do battle over which is worse. I'll just give you my perspective as someone who's endured both and is living through both. When my daughter was in my life, when I had the grandbabies and her in those windows of time, it was like a healing balm over my heart for my son. Without them, it's raw. So worse? I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter who's right or wrong. So I do want to share some comments with you over just the last couple of days. There have been countless comments, but just over the last couple of days with Mother's Day coming at us like a freight train, and I put out a pretty powerful meme and post that's gone viral. So there have been comments, and they're heartbreaking. Like the one from Jonna. I think that's how I say it. Forgive me if I say your name wrong. It's Johnnna. I fight my living grief every day. I wouldn't wish this pain on the one who caused it. It's too much for any mother to carry. I pray that her children never put it on her. I pray that she never feels the loneliness. I pray she never waits for a voice unheard. I pray her holidays are filled with love around the Thanksgiving table. I pray she never sits around a tree with gifts that will never be opened. I pray that one day she will open her heart to God and she will be fulfilled. Now that is unconditional love, is it not? And then there's Pauline. 2 of my 3 children were killed in a car accident, and my surviving daughter has alienated me. I don't know why, but she poisoned my 2 grandchildren. My heart is with Pauline. I get her. And then there's Tori. Tori was responding to a gal named Tracy who had talked about how it's a grief that's unnatural and has ended her almost a few times. And Tori responded, it has nearly ended me several times as well. The pain is unbelievable and absolutely unbearable most days. My entire life was given as everything I did was to raise them, and then my soul was stolen for a reason I don't even know. There was no fighting, no words, just the absence of the only thing I ever loved. I want to share with you a little bit of hope. Now, when I say that, understand, this isn't false hope. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. I'm not. But I'm going to tell you what I do. Okay, I've shared with you, I've been on this path for a long time. There have been some windows in time in between my daughter's numerous marriages where I was allowed back in, enjoyed the grands, did lots of things together, got lots of pictures, lots of memories, and then they were gone again. During this process, I've learned some tools. They do not solve the heart's agony. However, they are actionable and they do help. I spend time with friends. I make time. I have a circle, certain segments of my audience, but certainly almost all of anyone who has been through any kind of trauma. Do not gather a lot of people around you. I know that can be ego feeding, but it's much too draining. So have just the people who know you inside and out and in whom you are invested in one another. That is family, whether that's blood or not. And so I have those people in my life. They're almost all women. So as an example, Mother's Day is, as I record this, Mother's Day is tomorrow. And then 2 days from that is my birthday. And on neither day will I hear from my daughter or my grands. It's the same thing every year. It's emptiness and sorrow and darkness. And so I've learned to fill that time, and keeping busy is a good thing in any case, is it not? However, I like quality time. And so I was the recipient of a beautiful couple of floral gifts from my friend Colleen. We went to a greenhouse, took a road trip, and then Joan, she brought over just this beautiful, lovely arrangement. I've got out in my garden. I love gardening, so I've been out in my gardens a little bit. I spent Mother's Day weekend often gardening and focusing on making my gardens beautiful, because I do love them. Nature is where I find solace, and in God most often. In this channel, we're talking with one another and we're connecting in the archive. And so being of service to my people is a wonderful way to get through this weekend, because when I just read you those comments, I think to myself, my God, Pauline lost 2 children. And then the other one left her. So she's lost all of her children as well, same as me. It somehow helps to know we're not alone, as sad as we are for the people who are with us. So this channel, in being of service, reaching out and being lifted up, it is a real powerful tool. I also want to share a comment that was made. It was yesterday, and I had shared the post that's going viral. It's touching so many mothers and grandmothers and grieving mothers' hearts. This was in response to that, and she said, "Oh my, this puts my pain into the words I have never been able to find. My daughter texted this morning that she wants me to meet her fiancé. She also said she wants to spend time with me. This after almost 8 years of me being silenced and kicked aside. I really don't know where to put my heart." I responded, "The tides are turning, Mama. It's taken a long time to get here. But we are now at the precipice of a massive change. Guard your heart and full speed ahead. Please continue to share here in the archive. We need these kinds of voices rising. Thank you, and happy Mother's Day, grieving mother." I hope we hear back from her, and I do hope it went well. That's the whole idea of this channel, is reunification and reminding us all to stop being divided. It is being done to us on purpose. That's been covered in another episode. It'll be covered in more, but these systems are They're designed to divide us. And the more money these systems make, the bigger that design becomes. Don't be fooled by it. The tides are turning. And I want to let you know something that I was sharing with a friend earlier today. Both can be true. We try so hard. The message is shoved at us, be accepting of it, move on, or keep the agony to yourself. And all of that is crap. It's just crap. Both can be true. As an example, I can wish with all my heart that this woman has a wonderful reunification with her daughter today. I am happy in the deepest parts of my soul because my friend is being reunited with her son. Today they are getting together. They're going to be together and they're going to enjoy one another's company. And it is a first step back to solid connection that they had when he was growing up. So I can be happy and genuinely happy about that. And I can also feel the agony, the unspeakable agony of loss. I can also feel the agony of knowing that this is the first Mother's Day for my granddaughter, Liv. She had my great-grandson, Ronan, in November of last year. And so this is her first Mother's Day. And so they'll all be together. And there will be a 3-generation picture of my daughter, who is Ronan's grandmother. And I will grieve deeply and privately tomorrow, which is Mother's Day as I record this. That there will not be a 4-generation picture. There will not be a great-grandmother and a grandmother and a mother and a son. Both can be true. I alone am left to carry the history of my daughter and son. My husband is long gone and my son is long gone. Both long passed on. And so my daughter and I are the only ones that remain of that household where there was laughter and memories. And we are the ones who would be together remembering, but we can't do that. She sits alone somewhere. I don't even know where she lives now. I sit alone in mine here. And how utterly tragic and sad that is. Truly. Psychological homicide. I can't think of a better name for it. Can you?